go. Howdy again, friends. You ever had a piece of meat that you spent money on, and then for whatever reason, it ended up getting left in the refrigerator a bit too long, and you opened it up and it just ended up being just a tiny bit whiffy, and you just weren't sure if it was okay to eat? Well, I'm going to show you how I choose to deal with that. And spoilers, I usually end up eating it. So here's 2 pork loins that came in shrink wrap, and they did wind up being left in my refrigerator a little bit too long. You'll see on the lower left of this label, the use by date was July 6th, and the date of this video was July 22nd. So yeah, definitely a little bit past its prime. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wash the meat off really well. You can use this method with any kind of solid piece of meat that comes in shrink wrap, because very often it's the juices inside the shrink wrap with the meat that have actually gone bad, and often you can just rinse the problem away with cool water. It turned out with these pieces of meat that wasn't the case. They still smelled a little whiffy after washing. So we are going to go on to our second stage, which is a salt cure. And in order to do that, we are going to have to pat dry our meat and our sheet tray, because we don't want the salt to just melt in the water and run off into the sheet pan. And dry off the tray. As I said, still a little bit stinky, so we move on to the salt cure. So I'm using about a tablespoon of salt for both of these tenderloins. It ends up being about 1.5 teaspoons per pound. You can use up to 2 teaspoons per pound of meat. And I'm going to let it sit for 2 hours. You can let it sit for as long as overnight. Just keep in mind, the longer you let it sit, the saltier the meat will be, because the salt will eventually migrate down into the meat. So just keep that in mind. And as I said, we're going to let this sit in the fridge for 2 hours. So here's our meat out of the fridge, and we are going to wash the salt off of it. I don't like my meat very salty, and my husband is very salt sensitive, so he doesn't like salty things at all, really. And once we get this meat all washed off, we're gonna again have to wash off the sheet tray, because we don't want the extra salt that is on the sheet tray. And once we get it all washed off, we're going to pat it dry, and we're going to give it the next sniff test. And cleaning off our tray. And patting dry our meat. Now you can do this with any kind of solid piece of meat. Please don't try this with ground meat. It doesn't really work. But any kind of solid piece of meat you can do this with chicken, turkey, beef, whatever. And now we're going to sniff. So, precious friends, does our meat smell funky anymore? Nope. So you try it at home. I think you'll be amazed at the amount of money you'll save. Have a good day. Bye.